Okay, so this is the completed project of the Yardistry 12 by 14 gazebo. I'm all complete. My first video was probably just unpackaging it and showing you how much was there. I did have another video, but it wasn't totally complete. But maybe I could just do a whole recap on this one so you could try to get an idea of what it takes to construct this. All right, let me try to go around here. So this is the short beam, the roof beam. This is a long roof beam. That's not included. That's just a little solar LED light that I installed. Motion sensor. Those look like a good place to put light, especially out here when it gets dark. But there it is. The let me just say these beams, the long beam or the short beam over here, be careful when you put these together. They're assembled in a few different parts. As you can see, maybe you can see, they come in pieces. So you got to bolt them together. They're 2x4s, or excuse me, 2x6s that are bolted together, and right here together, excuse me, you actually only use one of these bolts together. Two of them are actually used for this post to roof beam tie for extra support. So be careful when you put these together. Make sure that there are through holes that go all the way through for this support on the short and the long beams. So make sure you have that when you're assembling it, so you could for future reference. All right. Under here you can see the roof ties right here. These roof panels, this is where you bolt them together, because there's 4 roof panels once you get them all assembled that you're going to have to install. You're going to need 4 people to help you with that, because you definitely need 4. You put a 8-foot ladder here. One guy's just in the middle holding up the center part of the roof as you assemble them. There's a pretty good video on Yardistry, shows you what to do, but that's definitely, you're going to need that as you do it. When you assemble it, some of the holes, they lined up fairly well, but I think the last one was about 1/8 of an inch off. We just kind of massaged it a little bit, tried to align the holes, stuck a bolt through there, and then just kind of worked it with the rest of the bolts, and we were able to get that 4th panel on with a little bit of struggle, but we got it done, and it worked out. Let me see some more hints here. Yeah, I made a mistake there. So right here I had to do a little patch repair, because this when you put these posts up, the 4 posts, and you're trying to put your roof beam ties between each of the posts, you're going to at least need one other person to do that. Don't try to do it yourself, because I try to do it myself, and trying to get all these 4 posts up, and you're trying to, I guess another guy did it by himself, but you could try, but you put the 1 bolt here, and you kind of just let it, come down to the bottom, and then you have another one up here and go to the bottom, and then try to, systematically work your way around to try to get them all. But I was over here, and of course a little wind came by, and this one came falling down, and the whole thing came falling down, and then it hit the deck on that corner, kind of messed it up a little bit. So word to the wise, just get one other person to help you at least stabilize and hold it while you're putting these these ties all together. Once you get all 4 of them tied up from all the posts, that guy could go away, and you could continue. Only took about 25 minutes to get all the 4 posts up, and so it wasn't that long. Then that guy could go away, and then you can continue assembly of the rest of the pieces, and also the roof panels. Let me see some more helpful hints. These corners, these corners up here didn't quite, let's get a better, they give you this little cap right here because when you're assembling, these corners don't quite all fit square. So don't be alarmed by that if they don't, I imagine. Some of them did. Some of my wood was a little, warped, so maybe that had something to do with it where it wasn't lining up square all the time. And over here you could see this one I think was a better corner over here, so that kind of lined up a little bit better. The roof, these I don't know what they're called, roof covers. It's a big long cover that kind of, you're tying. Once you put the 4 roof panels on, there's a seam at the top. Well, this is a seam cover that kind of, you slide it all the way over. They tell you use a little bit of dishwash soap to put it on the tiles to make, at least on that aluminum piece, to make it slide a little bit better. I didn't have too much of a problem when I did that, so it worked out quite well. I thought I was going to have a little bit more trouble, but they slid on fairly easily. Just need to, when you do that, I kind of was doing it all by myself at the very, once the panels were up. I didn't want to tie up my friends up for too long, but right here you could just unloosen those bolts, and I kind of like use some tape to push up on it because that's going to push up that little cap at the top here, so you could slide this thing underneath it. So a little tape kind of help keep it up in the meantime. Oh, another thing, when these roof panels are up and you're starting to tie them together, hey, some of these you might have to readjust because some of them will have maybe a little gap here too far away. So what I did was, unmounted them and remounted them so they're more flush, so it wouldn't be that far off where you'd have to use shims and stuff. I think over here, it was a little bit off, and I used a little shim, excuse me, a little shim in there. You could see a little shim that I put in there just to give it some stability, because there was a little gap there. But the other ones were bigger gaps. Some of them were bigger gaps, and I just unmounted them and remounted them, and the gap went away. So some of these beams up here were a little warped. This one towards the end, there was quite a bit of a gap. So on the corner, I was using basically a vise to try to squeeze it together and then put the bolt through and then tighten that up. But it all came out fairly well. I'm happy with it for the price of what you get. I think it's very good. It took me about 2.5 to 3 weeks to do this. Of course, it was a little bit each day. I didn't do it straight. I probably worked 5 hours on a Saturday and a Sunday initially, and then got a good start, and then probably worked a little, a couple hours here and there on after work on the weekdays, and the weekend maybe a little bit more. But in the end, 2.5. I mean, if you worked it straight, you could probably do it, 8 hours a day for 3 days, 4 days, and you'd be done. But you're going to need some help in the end. You need 4 guys to put these roof panels on, because anything less will just make it difficult. What I'm going to probably do is put some, I might put some extra roof ties here, because if it's, excuse me, over here, extra roof ties you could probably put right next to that one, just to give it some more stability for high winds and stuff. But all in all, I'm satisfied. It's well worth the price. Most definitely. Somebody wants to get into a project, it's definitely a project, and in the end I think you'll be satisfied. All right, peace out.